Voyager 1, our longest-living explorer in space, sent back a signal that has scientists scratching their heads. At first, it looked like a glitch, but as the data poured in, it became clear this wasn't just noise. Something out there responded, and it responded in a way no one can explain. Could this be the first real sign that we're not alone? Or is it something even stranger? What Voyager 1 just encountered wasn't supposed to be possible, and now, NASA's silence is only making things more suspicious. Voyager 1 isn't just a spacecraft. It's a time capsule, a ghost ship drifting to the void, carrying Earth's message to the stars. Launched in 1977, it was originally designed to explore Jupiter and Saturn. That mission ended decades ago, but Voyager didn't stop. It kept going, breaking free from the pull of our sun and drifting into interstellar space. It's now the farthest human-made object in existence. Against all odds, it's still alive, still sending back data after nearly 50 years. But just recently, those familiar signals took a turn. Something changed. Something that no one at NASA was prepared for. But this wasn't just technical static. This new signal had a pattern. And that's where things started getting weird. For decades, Voyager 1 has been quietly pulsing out streams of data, simple telemetry, and cosmic readings that slowly made their way back to Earth. It was routine, predictable, but then something changed. NASA's Deep Space Network began detecting odd irregularities in the signal, small shifts that didn't match any technical malfunction they'd seen before. At first, it was easy to dismiss. Maybe it was a software hiccup or some kind of cosmic interference. But as engineers dug deeper, they found something they couldn't explain. The signal wasn't just glitching, it was repeating. Deep within the stream, certain patterns began showing up, ones that seemed too organized, too intentional to be random. It wasn't noise. It wasn't natural. The sequences repeated with mathematical precision, like a transmission or a code, and no one could identify the source. It didn't resemble anything from known celestial bodies. It wasn't a reflection of Earth's own signals. And it didn't line up with any known physical phenomenon out in the interstellar medium. In quiet meetings behind closed doors, some NASA scientists suggested it might be a new form of cosmic energy interaction, something we simply hadn't discovered yet. But others weren't convinced. The regularity of the patterns, the timing, it felt deliberate. And just as quickly as the anomaly appeared, conspiracy theories ignited across the internet. Was Voyager 1 detecting something, or someone out there? NASA tried to calm the noise, saying they were investigating system behavior. But not everyone was buying it, especially after a strange leak appeared online. Just days after the signal made headlines in obscure science forums, a mysterious post surfaced on Reddit. The user claimed to be a systems engineer working on the Voyager mission at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. At first, no one took it seriously, until details emerged that only an insider could know. According to the post, internal chaos had broken out. Engineers weren't dealing with malfunction. They were analyzing a signal that looked intelligent. The leaker described a repeating numerical sequence embedded in the transmission, one that resembled Earth origin binary, but inverted and layered what they called non-random intermodulation. In simpler terms, it wasn't noise. It looked like something or someone was embedding structure inside the signal. He said multiple attempts to reproduce the pattern artificially failed. It wasn't a glitch, and it wasn't coming from Earth. The post ended with a chilling line. Whatever it is, we didn't send the first message. It was quickly deleted, but screenshots spread like wildfire. Suddenly, people weren't just curious, they were alarmed. If even part of the leak was true, Voyager may first have just crossed paths with something we've never encountered before. And just when the world started asking questions, NASA went dark. Right after the leak spread across the internet, NASA suddenly went quiet. For nearly 10 days, there were no updates on Voyager 1. No press releases, no new data logs, nothing. When questioned, NASA responded with a vague statement. Routine recalibration of systems. But seasoned followers of the Voyager mission knew better. Recalibration didn't mean shutting down public access to raw data. Something was being held back. Amateur astronomers and independent researchers noticed something even stranger. Around the same time NASA went silent, a series of brief but powerful radio bursts were detected by Earth-based observatories. Bursts that didn't match known astrophysical sources. Some were so brief and narrowband that they looked almost artificial, and their timing lined up almost perfectly with Voyager 1's last known transmissions. People started to speculate. Was the probe jamming itself? Was NASA shielding the public from something we weren't supposed to see? Or had Voyager triggered something in the deep unknown? What made it more chilling was that Voyager 1 had always been a quiet one. Steady, silent, reliable. Now, it felt like something was interfering. Or worse, watching. And just when it seemed like the trail was going cold, Voyager 1 sent back a signal that would shock everyone. When NASA finally reestablished stable communication with Voyager 1, the data it returned wasn't what anyone expected. Hidden in the telemetry was a signal that mirrored something eerily familiar, an Earth transmission from decades ago. Specifically, it resembled part of the original Golden Record audio message that Voyager 1 carried into space in 1977. But here's the terrifying part. This signal didn't come from the probe's own memory bank. It was coming from outside. The exact sequence, Earth's original broadcast of the cosmos, had bounced back in a form no one could explain. Scientists scrambled to understand how. Could it have hit something and reflected back? But Voyager 1 is in interstellar space. There's no known object out there that could act as a cosmic mirror. Theories flooded in. Some suggested the probe had entered a rare spatial anomaly. Others claimed it was a kind of time loop echo. But one possibility stood out and shook even the skeptics. Something out there had received our message and sent it back. That kind of response wasn't random. It was intentional. It was a reply. And if that's true, it means Voyager 1 didn't just stumble into deep space. It stumbled into something waiting. And the deeper scientists dug into that signal, the more it started to resemble another famous cosmic mystery. As experts dissected the strange echo Voyager 1 received, an unsettling comparison emerged. The frequency and structure bore similarities to one of the most famous unexplained signals in history, the WOW signal of 1977. That transmission, captured by a radio telescope in Ohio, lasted only 72 seconds, but was so strong and clear that astronomers couldn't explain it. It was never repeated, never traced, and for nearly 50 years, it stood alone. Until now, the signal Voyager 1 picked up shared key elements, narrow band spikes, isolated frequency modulation, and even parts of the timing sequence. Scientists who had spent years studying the WOW signal began to wonder, could this be from the same source? Had Voyager wandered into the path of whatever sent that first cosmic message? If so, this wasn't just a random echo. It was a direct hit. And it meant that deep space might not be so quiet after all. For decades, we've searched for a response. But maybe we were just looking in the wrong direction. Maybe the answer had been waiting, and Voyager 1 finally got close enough to hear it. But what made it all the more chilling was the silence from its twin. Voyager 1 has a twin, Voyager 2, launched just weeks apart. They've both been drifting through space for nearly half a century. While Voyager 1 took a path toward the outer edge of the solar system's boundary, Voyager 2 veered in a slightly different direction. Yet, when the bizarre signal reached Voyager 1, Voyager 2 detected nothing. No echo, no distortion, no anomalies. That silence raised even more questions. If this was a cosmic event, some natural occurrence in deep space, shouldn't both probes have picked it up? Scientists initially brushed it off as a matter of location. But the distance between the two isn't vast enough to explain the complete absence of similar activity. Some began to whisper about targeting. Had something or someone deliberately chosen Voyager 1 over its twin? Others believe Voyager may first have entered a narrow zone, a hidden corridor of energy or information, something ancient, something intelligent, maybe even something that knew it was coming. And the longer Voyager 2 remained quiet, the more it seemed like this wasn't a random encounter at all. It was personal, and that theory only grew stronger after NASA released a new, cryptic update that left the world with more questions than answers. When pressure mounted and speculation spiraled out of control, NASA finally broke its silence. But instead of clarity, They delivered a statement that only deepened the mystery. In a carefully worded update, NASA acknowledged what they called unexpected telemetry anomalies in Voyager 1's recent data stream. They confirmed the signal contained unusual structural characteristics and that it did not resemble any known malfunction or interference. But then came the strange part. They didn't deny anything. NASA's statement emphasized that the origin of the signal is still under investigation, and they urged the public not to jump to conclusions. Yet, for many, the careful choice of words, phrases like no current explanation and unprecedented telemetry signature, felt like a subtle admission that something was happening they couldn't explain or control. They concluded the report with a cryptic line. Voyager 1 continues to operate normally as it transmits data from uncharted regions of interstellar space. To the average person, it sounded routine, but to those following closely, it meant something much more. Voyager 1 was still alive, still sending signals, and whatever found out there isn't done speaking. And with every mile it drifts farther into the unknown, one thing becomes clearer. Deep space is not empty. It's listening. Voyager 1 is still moving, drifting silently into the vast black beyond, farther from Earth than anything humanity has ever created. What it just encountered might never be fully explained. Maybe it was a natural anomaly we don't yet understand. Maybe it was something ancient that's been waiting in the dark. Or maybe it was an answer to a question we didn't even realize we were asking. For now, Voyager 1 keeps sending its whispers back to Earth, and every signal it beams home is a reminder the universe is not as quiet or as empty as we once believed. Something is out there, watching, listening, maybe even reaching back. And Voyager 1, it may have just knocked on a door that can't be closed.